to the story of Leon Hatman, a 20-year-old mechanical engineer who was living a perfectly ordinary life, just like Ella Voss, Adrian Mule, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falkny, Damien Kell, Claw Weiss, and Victor Hale, until the Doomsday System activated and a cold voice echoed, announcing that he had been chosen as the master after 30 days, and the Doomsday was approaching, triggering the survival system, allowing him to see a real-time map of danger zones, displaying areas that were about to experience disasters, earthquakes, floods, pollution, and zombie outbreaks. And the system also provided a plan to build a base, predict the weather, and optimize resources to prepare for all scenarios. At first, Leon was confused, but then he believed and took action, buying materials, transforming a factory into a doomsday-proof base, building steel walls, hidden bunkers, temporary energy, and water filtration systems, and for each task the system assigned him to complete. The reward was rare materials, survival technology, and the ability to upgrade himself. When the Doomsday finally arrived, with natural disasters, zombies, and chaos flooding the streets, Leon didn't run away, but instead hid in the shelter he had built, and the system guided him to save people, expand the safe area, and gradually take control of the entire city. From being an ordinary engineer, Leon became the only person who held the map of human survival in his hands, in a world that was on the verge of destruction. But with the Doomsday System and his unyielding will, Leon was determined to survive, just like his friends, who were also trying to make sense of the new world. And Leon's life, which was once a straight line, was now filled with twists and turns as he navigated the challenges of the Doomsday world alongside his friends, who were all trying to find their place in this new reality. Looking back, the first half of Leon Hatman's life was filled with failures and setbacks. Elias Koenig and Sebastian Falkny often noticed him being taken advantage of, as at 16, his parents passed away in a car accident, leaving him and his sister with no one to rely on but each other. And later, he struggled to get into university, but his academic performance was not impressive. Gabriel Weiss would try to comfort him, but he was always at the bottom of the class, and his athletic abilities were dreadful. To make matters worse, he was frequently bullied by the school's bullies, becoming their favorite target. However, if there was one positive aspect to his life, it was his love and compassion for animals, particularly stray cats and dogs. He would often feed them and care for them, and this small act of kindness made him feel like he still had some worth. Deep down, the only creatures that could bring him warmth and comfort were these stray animals. They wouldn't mock his failures or bully him. They would just silently accept his affection. When he petted them, his troubles and sorrows seemed to disappear. For Leon Hatman, these small animals had become a part of his life, his safe haven. Yet, ironically, this kind heart of his would ultimately lead to his downfall. As Adrien Mule and Celeste Beaumont would later find out, Leon's love for animals would put him in a difficult situation, and even Ella Voss and Victor Hale would be surprised by the turn of events. Meanwhile, Claw Weiss and Damien Kell would try to help him, but it seemed like his luck was never on his side, and Leon would have to face the consequences of his own actions, with no one to blame but himself. As he navigated through the challenges of his life, he would have to rely on his own resilience and the support of those around him, including Gabriel Weiss and Sebastian Falkny, to overcome the obstacles that lay ahead. As Leon Hatman jumped into the water to rescue a drowning puppy, he found himself in a desperate situation, getting stung by a swarm of bees and swallowing a lot of water. And when he was finally pulled to safety, he fell into a coma, and as his consciousness began to fade away, he thought to himself, "I'm going to die. It's okay. I've always been a failure anyway." And he heard a gentle voice whispering, Forgive me. I'll go ahead. And just as Leon Hatman was on the verge of death, his mind was suddenly enveloped by a bright light, and a voice congratulated him on accumulating enough kindness, announcing the successful linkage of the system, the supreme linkage, the divine hand activation, and the opening of the sixth sense. And Leon Hatman immediately felt an unprecedented surge of power awakening within him. And when he came to again, he found himself lying on the shore, surrounded by curious onlookers. And as he sat up, his eyes gleamed with an unfamiliar light, as if he had just undergone a rebirth. All his fatigue vanished, replaced by a sense of lightness and indescribable strength. And someone exclaimed, "I thought the kid was dead already." Meanwhile, Ella Voss, Adrian Mule, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Faulkner, Damien Kelly, Claw Weiss, and Victor Hale were all watching the scene unfold, and Leon Hatman's transformation was about to change everything. With his newfound powers, he was ready to take on the world, and his friends were eager to see what he could do. As they all gathered around him, waiting for him to make his next move. And Leon Hatman, with his newfound confidence, was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, with the support of his friends, including Ella Voss, Adrian Mule, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Faulkner, Damien Kelly, Claw Weiss, and Victor Hale, who were all curious to see what the future held for Leon Hatman, and as they all stood there, they couldn't help but wonder what other surprises lay in store for them. And Leon Hatman, with his newfound powers, was ready to take on the world and make his mark, with the help of his friends, who were all eager to see him succeed. And as they all walked away from the shore, they knew that nothing would ever be the same again. And Leon Hatman, with his newfound strength, was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead and make his mark on the world. It's true, I didn't expect him to regain consciousness. He's indeed very lucky. Let's disperse. Let's disperse. The murmurs of the crowd gradually faded away as the crowd dispersed. At this time, Leon Hatman was no longer concerned about it. His mind was preoccupied with the unbelievable experience he just had. He looked down at his hands. Although they appeared normal, he could feel an extraordinary energy coursing through his body. Is this real? Leon Hatman muttered to himself, feeling both astonished and thrilled. Ding dong, the Supreme System has been activated. A system reminder sounded in his head. Immediately after, a system interface appeared in front of Leon Hatman, which only he could see. The interface displayed two divine abilities he had just acquired, the Supreme System and the Divine Hand. The Supreme System granted the host an extremely powerful system, integrating functions such as quests, rewards, and a shop, helping the host to continuously progress and become the strongest. The Divine Hand could copy the seventh sense, but only up to 5 types, which could be used infinitely, exceeding the copying limit allowed for replacement of 1 type. Leon Hatman first opened the system. Looking at the various items on display, he was immediately stunned. The system shop had all sorts of food, clothing, drinks, and items, but everything required accumulated points to exchange. Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, and Sebastian Faulkner, who were standing nearby, seemed to sense that something was off about Leon Hatman, but they couldn't quite put their finger on it. Meanwhile, Adrian Mule, Celeste Beaumont, and Damien Kelly were engaged in a heated discussion, trying to make sense of the recent events. Claw Weiss and Victor Hale were watching from a distance, their eyes fixed on Leon Hatman, who is still trying to wrap his head around the system. Ella Voss, on the other hand, seemed to be deep in thought, her eyes gleaming with a hint of curiosity. As the crowd continued to disperse, the atmosphere slowly returned to normal, but Leon Hatman's life was about to take a dramatic turn. With the supreme system and the divine hand at his disposal, he was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, and his friends, including Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falkny, Adian Mule, Celeste Beaumont, Damien Kelly, Claw Weiss, Victor Hale, and Allah Voss, would be right by his side as they navigated this new and unpredictable world together. Leon Hatman could accumulate points through completing tasks. Currently, he only had 100 initial accumulated points in the system, and there were some items in the system store that hadn't been unlocked yet, which Adian Mule suspected might be due to insufficient accumulated points or current level. Immediately after, Leon Hatman checked another divine ability, the Seventh Sense. Ella Voss was completely baffled, so she tried using it with her right hand. Soon, the system's reminder sound rang out. No other Seventh Sense was detected. Replication failed. Ella Voss was slightly stunned, then realized this Seventh Sense might be some kind of special ability. She took a deep breath, decided not to hastily explore this ability, and shifted her attention back to the system. At this moment, the system's reminder sound rang out again. There were 30 days left before the apocalypse. Please prepare for defense in advance. Discovered that the host had developed the Sixth Sense and the Seventh Sense. A gift pack was awarded. Would you like to open it? Elias Koenig was taken aback. Then a smile appeared on his face. Of course, he wanted to open it, saying that Leon Hatman immediately clicked to open it. When the gift pack was opened, a series of system reminder sounds started ringing out. Sebastian Falkny and Gabriel Weiss were also aware of the system's reminder, and Claw Weiss had some understanding of the gift pack. Victor Hale and Damien Kelly were also exploring their abilities, while Celeste Beaumont was figuring out how to use her powers. Meanwhile, the system continued to remind them of the impending apocalypse and the importance of preparing for defense. As the group of friends navigated their newfound abilities and the system's guidance, they began to unravel the mysteries of their new world, with Leon Hatman at the forefront, eager to uncover the secrets of the system and the gift pack, and Adian Mule providing support and guidance as they journeyed through this uncharted territory. The system's reminders served as a constant reminder of the challenges that lay ahead, and the friends stood together, ready to face whatever came their way. As Leon Hatman delved into the mysterious package, he was showered with rewards, including an enhanced Sixth Sense and improved bodily functions, a fortified underground bunker, 1,000 bottles of pure water, and 1,000 kilograms of rice. All of which, except for the heightened sense, were neatly stored in the system's inventory. And as the notification sound faded away, Leon felt his body undergo yet another transformation, realizing that the Sixth Sense was a bodily function, which led him to ponder about the Seventh Sense being a special ability, although it seemed to be of little use at the moment. And with a determined heart, Leon decided to get familiar with the system. Taking a deep breath, he opened the inventory, found a bottle of pure water, and used it. Almost instantly, a full bottle of water appeared in his hand. The water was extremely pure, with no impurities or strange odors. As if it came from the purest source, Leon couldn't help but feel thrilled, realizing that the system could indeed provide him with practical help and convenience. He grasped the bottle tightly, feeling its weight and temperature, and at the same time felt a deep sense of joy within himself. 30 days before the apocalypse, although the type of disaster was still unknown, but with the system in hand, perhaps he could change his fate. And as he stood there, lost in thought, his friends, including Allah Voss, Adian Mule, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Faulkner, Damian Kelly, Claude Weiss, and Victor Hale were all oblivious to the dramatic turn of events that was about to unfold, and Leon, with his newfound powers and rewards, was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, with a sense of hope and determination that he had never felt before. And as he looked up, he knew that he was not alone, for he had the system, and with it, a chance to rewrite his destiny. Leon Hatman thought to himself, and then decided to first accumulate some more points to prepare for the end of the world in 30 days. So he opened the system's task interface, and the first task was to complete a righteous act within the school walls, with a reward of 100 points. Upon seeing this, Leon Hatman stood up. His clothes had almost dried from the sun, and he casually brushed off the dirt. His eyes also changed as he stood up. The humiliation from before was about to be repaid to those people. Looking at the not-so-distant school wall, the corner of Leon Hatman's mouth slightly curled up, revealing a hint of a smile. He knew that from now on, everything would be different. He wanted those who had bullied him to pay the price. The little dog he had saved earlier also stumbled to his feet, using its wet nose to gently rub against his pants. As if also celebrating his rebirth, Leon Hatman gently stroked it, his heart filled with unprecedented determination and warmth. He stood up, his eyes firm, and walked towards the school wall. His footsteps were more stable than ever. Each step seemed to be setting a new path. He silently recited the system's task, looking for an opportunity to carry out justice. Soon, he witnessed in a corner of the playground a few upperclassmen surrounding a lowerclassman, intending to bully the weak. This scene, if it were before, Leon Hatman would have probably chosen to ignore it and quietly leave. But now the fire in his heart had been lit, and he couldn't tolerate such injustice. He took a deep breath and quickly walked towards the group. His voice was not loud, but very firm. As he approached, Ala Voss, who was being bullied, looked up, and Adrian Mule, who was bullying her, also turned around. Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, and Gabriel Weiss, who were standing nearby, also stopped to watch, while Sebastian Faulkner, Damian Kelly, Claude Weiss, and Victor Hale, who were walking by, also came over to see what was happening. Leon Hatman's eyes locked onto Adrian Mule, and he said, with a calm and determined tone, that he wouldn't allow them to bully others. Adrian Mule sneered, but Leon Hatman stood firm, his expression unyielding. And the people around them were surprised by his sudden change. Ala Voss, who was being bullied, looked at Leon Hatman with gratitude, and the little dog, which had been following Leon Hatman, also let out a soft bark, as if cheering him on. The atmosphere was tense, with Leon Hatman's newfound bravery. The crowd held their breath, waiting to see what would happen next. Leon Hatman's determination had ignited a spark, and it was about to change everything. Leon Hatman shouted, stopping the group, "What are you people doing?" The students from the other class looked at him with a hint of surprise and then burst out laughing, as if they had just seen a joke that was unaware of its own limitations. But in Adrian Mule's eyes, there was no fear, only an unshakable sense of justice. Oh, isn't that Leon Hatman? What's going on? Does he want to be a hero and save the day? The leader of the group, a rich kid named Leon, was not actually the one speaking, but rather someone named Damian Kella was not in the scene. Instead, it was Elias Koenig who was the actual rich kid. But in this context, the character in question was actually Adrian Mule's classmate. Gabriel Weiss was not the one, and the actual speaker was Sebastian Faulkner, who said Sebastian Faulkner was not the speaker, but rather the one being spoken to. But in all actuality, the one doing the speaking was indeed none of the aforementioned, but rather it was, in fact, Damien Kella, who was not there. The actual speaker was none other than Elias Koenig. No, that is incorrect. It was indeed none of those individuals. The one who was doing the talking was actually, here is Leon Hatman. Is he really that powerful? How did he become so formidable? Ela Voss can't help but wonder. As Adrian Mule's expression changes, he feels a surge of fear, but as the leader, he cannot easily back down, so he tries to use his strength to turn the situation around. However, Leon Hatman doesn't give him the chance. With a slight smile and a gaze filled with disdain, he counterattacks, landing a powerful punch on Adrian Mule's stomach, causing him to double over in pain. Oh, you dare to hit me. Adrian Mule's anguished cry echoes throughout the schoolyard. The atmosphere seems to freeze. The others watch in astonishment, unable to believe their eyes. They can't fathom how Leon Hatman, who was once bullied by them, is now fighting back and defeating Adrian Mule, who is a 7th degree black belt. Meanwhile, the bullied girl is sitting in the corner, her body swaying slightly when she hears Adrian Mule's cry. She looks up to see Leon Hatman standing in front of her, his eyes filled with concern and comfort, making her feel a sense of relief. Are you okay? Leon Hatman asks gently. The girl shakes her head, indicating she's fine. As Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falkney, and Damien Kelly watch the scene unfold, while Claw Weiss and Victor Hale exchange surprised glances. The atmosphere remains tense, with everyone wondering what will happen next. She gazed gratefully at Leon Hatman, tears streaming down her face, her beauty reminiscent of a weeping flower, much like Ela Voss in her most vulnerable moments, as she bore a striking resemblance to a delicate cherry blossom, her face a picture of sorrow, her eyes red from crying, her long hair disheveled, her slender figure shaking with each sob, her fragile body trembling with fear, her lovely face streaked with tears, her eyes brimming with tears, her eyelashes wet with tears, as she stood there, her shoulders shaking with each sob, her entire being exuding an aura of sadness, her face a mask of despair, her eyes filled with a deep sense of loss, her heart heavy with grief, her soul crushed by the weight of her emotions. As Leon Hatman gently reached out to help her up, his hand extended in a gesture of kindness, his fingers wrapping around her wrist, his touch warm and gentle, his eyes filled with compassion, his face a picture of concern, his voice soft and soothing as he spoke to her in a gentle tone. Don't worry, I've taken care of them. You can go back to class now. His words a balm to her frazzled nerves, his voice a reassuring presence as she nodded, her eyes never leaving his face, her heart filled with gratitude, her soul uplifted by his kindness as she introduced herself. My name is Celeste Beaumont. Thank you for saving me. Her voice barely above a whisper, her words tumbling out in a rush, as Leon Hatman nodded, his face a mask of calm, his eyes filled with a deep sense of understanding, his voice low and gentle, as he replied, You're welcome. Just be careful. Okay. His words a warning, a reminder to be vigilant. As she nodded, her eyes filled with a deep sense of gratitude, her heart filled with appreciation as she turned to leave, her feet carrying her away from the scene, her heart still heavy with emotion. As Leon Hatman watched her go, his eyes filled with a deep sense of concern, his face a picture of thoughtfulness, before turning to leave, only to be stopped by Adrian Mule, who called out to him, You dare to hit me. You think you can just walk away. This isn't over yet. his voice filled with anger, his face twisted in a scowl, his eyes blazing with fury. As Leon Hatman turned to face him, his eyes filled with a deep sense of calm, his face a mask of serenity, his voice low and even. "Don't provoke me, or you'll regret it for the rest of your life." His words, a warning, a threat, as Adian Mueller's face contorted in anger and pain, his eyes filled with a deep sense of fear, his voice trembling with rage as he glared at Leon Hatman, his eyes filled with a mix of emotions, his face a picture of turmoil, as he struggled to come to terms with the new reality, as he realized that Leon Hatman was no longer the same person he used to be, as he saw the determination in his eyes, the strength in his voice, the calm in his demeanor, as he knew that he was no match for him, as he felt a sense of fear creeping up his spine, as he wondered what he had gotten himself into, as he stood there, frozen in uncertainty, as Leon Hatman stood tall, his eyes fixed on him, his face a mask of calm, his voice low and even, his presence commanding attention, his aura exuding an air of confidence, as he waited for Adian Mule to make his next move, as the air was filled with tension, as the scene was set for a confrontation, as the outcome was far from certain, as the story was about to take a dramatic turn, as the characters were about to clash, as the conflict was about to escalate, as the drama was about to unfold. As Leon Hatman walked away, he couldn't help but feel a sense of relief, knowing that a direct confrontation at that moment would be disadvantageous to him, so he had no choice but to lead his disheartened followers away. Ella Voss stood in place, watching their backs as they left, feeling a sense of exhilaration wash over her, realizing she was no longer the weakling who got bullied. The system's power had given her the ability to protect herself and others. And as Adian Muller's heroic act was completed, the system rewarded her with 100 accumulated points, which made her feel wonderful. Her smile curved up in satisfaction, not just because the task was accomplished, but also because she had regained her lost confidence and self-respect. She looked down at the system interface. The accumulated points column now had an additional 100 points. This was a great start for her. She thought to herself, next she had to make better use of the system. Preparing for the impending doom, later that afternoon, with no classes, Leon Hatman returned to the dormitory. Lying on the bed, he immediately opened the system store, beginning to browse through the various items. Meanwhile, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, and Sebastian Falcone were all going about their day, unaware of the recent events. Damian Kelly was observing from a distance. Claw Weiss was walking with Victor Hale. As the day went on, the atmosphere remained tense. But with the departure of Leon Hatman and his followers, the sense of unease slowly dissipated, and the students continued with their daily routines. Leon Hatman, now back in the dorm, was focused on utilizing the system to its fullest potential, with the goal of being better prepared for the challenges that lay ahead. Leon Hatman was particularly interested in certain items that could enhance his survival capabilities, such as solar chargers, water purifiers, and compressed food, all of which were essential for survival in a post-apocalyptic world, but their prices were unbelievably high, with the cheapest ones costing at least 2,000 accumulated points. However, Adian Mule discovered an interesting function in the system, which allowed him to spend 10 accumulated points to draw a prize, and after 100 draws, he could receive a precious item or a mysterious package. Ayla Voss thought about it for a long time before finally deciding to take a chance, using his accumulated points to try his luck, and with a mix of tension and anticipation, he clicked the draw button, and the system began to process his request, with flashing lights on the screen indicating the result of the first draw. which was 10 pounds of beef. Not a big prize, but at least it was a good start, and he consoled himself that it was a decent beginning. But the next few draws were disappointing, with only messages thanking him for participating, which cost him 20 accumulated points and left him heartbroken, but he couldn't help himself and clicked the draw button again, despite his previous bad luck. And Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falkney, and Damien Kelly were all watching him, wondering what he would get next, while Claw Weiss and Victor Hale were discussing the odds of getting a good prize, and Celeste Beaumont was trying to convince Elias Koenig to try his luck as well, and Leon Hatman was too engaged in the drawing process to notice his friends' conversations, and he was eager to see what the next draw would bring, with Ariane Mule and the others waiting anxiously to find out if he would finally get a valuable item. As the spins whirled by, Leon Hatman's heart was in his throat. He closed his eyes, hoping that luck would be on his side. And then the system's voice rang out, "Congratulations! The youngest symbiote has obtained a rare item, the spatial ring." A voice reminded. Leon Hatman suddenly let out a loud shout, his eyes gleaming with an unbelievable light. A spatial ring. This was something that only existed in fantasy novels. He couldn't believe he was actually able to obtain one. Leon Hatman hastily checked the system's item inventory and saw a ring that looked ordinary but emitted a faint, soft glow. The spatial ring could hold a large quantity of items with an inner space of 100 square meters and could be upgraded by purchasing expansion cards from the store. Seeing this introduction, Leon Hatman was extremely excited and immediately clicked to use it. After a flash of light, a pure white ring appeared in Leon Hatman's hand. The ring emitted a weak light and was extremely mysterious. Leon Hatman carefully picked up the ring and meticulously observed it. The surface of the ring was extremely smooth, without any flaws, with some engraved symbols and strange patterns that seemed to contain a kind of power. Ela Voss, Adian Mule, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falkney, Damien Kelly, Claw Weiss, and Victor Hale were all amazed by Leon Hatman's incredible luck, as they all knew how rare and valuable the spatial ring was, and how much it could change one's fate. Leon Hatman's eyes sparkled with joy and anticipation as he carefully examined the ring and thought about all the possibilities it could bring. With the spatial ring, Leon Hatman felt like he was one step closer to achieving his dreams, and he couldn't wait to see what other surprises and adventures lay ahead. Leon Hatman put on the ring and tried to use his mind to sense it, hoping to open this spatial ring, and suddenly, a faint light flashed. His consciousness was immediately sucked into a wonderful place, where it was quiet all around. Ela Voss was excited to look around, only to see that this space was empty, with nothing in it. "This is the inside of the spatial ring," Leon Hatman muttered to himself, his heart full of expectation. He knew that this space would become his secret treasure, where he could store valuable items and resources. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but smile. "This was a big surprise," Leon Hatman muttered. He realized that this spatial ring would become a powerful tool for his survival in the doomsday. A look of excitement appeared on his face. In his heart, he was secretly rejoicing at his good luck. With this spatial ring, he not only could use money to buy and store a large amount of supplies, but also could save a considerable amount of accumulated points. More importantly, with the spatial ring in his hand, he no longer had to worry about the weight problem and could easily carry more necessities and equipment. Imagine a space of 100 square meters that could hold a large amount of food, water, medical supplies, and so on. This would certainly greatly increase his chances of survival in the doomsday. Leon Hatman was eager to start exploring the secrets of the spatial ring. After a while of experimentation, He quickly grasped how to use it. It turned out that just by lightly touching an item, he could immediately store it in the ring. With Adian Mule, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falconet, Damien Kelly, Claw Weiss, and Victor Hale by his side, Leon Hatman was confident that he could face any challenges that came his way. As Leon Hatman grasped the incredible convenience of his spatial ring, he felt an overwhelming sense of excitement and wonder, as if he had acquired a superpower, and with just a thought, the item he needed would quickly materialize in his hand, leaving him utterly astonished. And at this moment, Allah Voss's heart was filled with joy, eager to utilize the spatial ring's convenience to prepare more supplies. And next, he decided to discuss this with his sister. So he scheduled a meeting with her, and after calling Claw Weiss, a sweet and pleasant voice came from the other end of the line, saying, "Allo, little Leon, is there something you want to talk to me about? Or is someone bothering you? Tell me and I'll go teach them a lesson." Upon hearing his sister's voice, Leon Hatman felt a warmth in his heart. Allah Voss was 4 years older than Leon Hatman, now 24 years old, and had graduated. She majored in computer science, was very intelligent, and currently worked as an administrative manager at a listed company, while also using her spare time to take accounting certifications. After their parents had a car accident, Allah Voss had refused the kindness of relatives who wanted to adopt the two siblings, and had taken on the responsibility of caring for Leon Hatman. Composing himself, Leon Hatman said into the phone, "Sis, I'm fine. Do you have time? Let's meet up. It's been a while since we last saw each other. I miss you so much." And Allah Voss replied, "All right, little Leon, I miss you too." And Adian Mule, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falconet, Damien Kelly, and Victor Hale were all characters that Leon Hatman would eventually meet and interact with. But for now, his focus was on his conversation with his sister, and as they made plans to meet, Leon Hatman couldn't help but think about the possibilities that his spatial ring had brought him, and how it would change his life and the lives of those around him, including Claw Weiss, who was not only his sister, but also a source of comfort and support. And as they hung up the phone, Leon Hatman felt a sense of relief and excitement, knowing that he had someone to share his secrets with, and that together they would face whatever challenges lay ahead. And with his spatial ring by his side, he felt more confident than ever, ready to take on the world, one step at a time. Leon Hatman recently hasn't been too busy with work, so he suggested to Allah Voss that they go eat her favorite lobster dish tonight, which would also be a good way to nourish her, his voice full of affection and gentleness, causing Adian Mule to feel a slight surge of emotion. However, he felt that there was something more important to discuss tonight, so he told Allah Voss that they could eat the lobster another time, and instead asked her to meet him at a quiet cafe near her place to talk about something serious, to which she agreed, and they made plans to meet at 7 p.m. Allah Voss, although a bit curious, trusted Leon Hatman and didn't ask many questions. She was just filled with anticipation for their meeting. After hanging up the phone, Leon Hatman began to carefully prepare, thinking about how to explain to Allah Voss the sudden appearance of the system and the spatial ring, as well as how it would change their lives. He knew that Allah Voss was not only his loved one, but also his strongest supporter in this world. Meanwhile, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falconet, Damien Kelly, Claw Weiss, and Victor Hale were all going about their daily lives, unaware of the important conversation that was about to take place between Leon Hatman and Allah Voss. Leon Hatman was determined to find a way to make Allah Voss understand the situation and work together to face the challenges that lay ahead. With the help of his friends, including Adian Mule, he was ready to take on whatever came next, and he hoped that their bond would only grow stronger as a result. As the night fell, the soft glow of the cafe's lights and the aroma of coffee filled the air. Leon Hatman arrived early and sat by the window, his eyes fixed on the door, awaiting the arrival of his sister, Allah Voss, who worked for a company in the city, but it took her over half an hour to drive to the cafe, and soon she walked in, dressed in a simple yet elegant outfit that made her stand out in the crowd. She scanned the room and finally spotted Leon Hatman in the corner, and walked towards him with a warm smile. After he stood up to pull out a chair for her, they sat down facing each other. Allah Voss asked Leon Hatman if he had been waiting long, and he replied that he had just arrived. And then she asked if he had something important to discuss, offering to help him analyze the situation. Leon Hatman took a deep breath and spoke seriously to Allah Voss, telling her that what he was about to say might be hard to believe. But he assured her it was all true, and Allah Voss's expression turned grave. This being the first time she had seen her brother so serious, Adian Mule, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falkney, Damien Kelly, Claw Weiss, and Victor Hale were not present. But the atmosphere was tense as Leon Hatman prepared to reveal something significant to his sister. Allah Voss's eyes were fixed intently on him, awaiting his words, and the soft music and gentle hum of conversation in the background seemed to fade away as the siblings sat there, poised on the threshold of a potentially life-changing conversation. Leon Hatman, no matter what you say, I'll listen carefully. Allah Voss's gentle yet determined voice was filled with trust and concern for him. Under the soft light, Leon began to tell Allah everything about his incredible experiences. From the appearance of the system to the spatial ring, every detail was shared with her. As she was the only person he trusted, Leon didn't hide anything, including the impending disaster. When he finished, Allah's expression turned solemn. The two remained silent for a long time, until finally Allah spoke up, her voice barely above a whisper, her eyes sparkling with an incredulous gaze. So, this spatial ring, does it really exist? After a long pause, Leon replied, "Yes, it's on my finger." He held out his hand, and the ring emitted a faint glow, adding to its mystique. To convince Ayla, Leon even demonstrated how to use the spatial ring several times, putting objects on the table into the ring and then taking them out. Ayla was stunned, her eyes wide, her hands unconsciously covering her mouth. The shock in her heart was hard to put into words. She repeatedly verified the scene before her, as if trying to wake up from a dream, but every attempt only made her more convinced of the truth of everything. After a while, Allah took a deep breath, trying to calm the turmoil in her heart. Meanwhile, other characters like Adian Mule, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falkney, Damien Kelly, Claw Weiss, and Victor Hale were not present in this intimate conversation between Leon and Allah, but their presence would be felt in the broader story, as Leon's experiences and the spatial ring's abilities would likely have far-reaching consequences, involving many of the people in his life, including his friends and acquaintances like Adian, Celeste, Elias, Gabriel, Sebastian, Damien, Claw, and Victor, all of whom would be impacted by the events unfolding around Leon and the mysterious spatial ring. At this moment, Allah Voss had accepted the reality, knowing she had to remain calm as the older sister and face the upcoming challenges together with her sibling. And so she said to Leon Hatman, "We must plan carefully With this spatial ring, we need to utilize it to stock up on supplies, ensuring we have the necessary conditions to survive when disaster strikes. Allah's voice was soft, but exuded unwavering determination. Sister, we must now convert all our money into supplies. When disaster hits, this money will become worthless. I've experimented with the spatial ring. When I put objects in, they come out the same way, meaning time inside is static. So we don't need to worry about the supplies expiring or going bad, except that it can't hold living things, Leon explained. Allah thought for a moment, then took out a notebook and pen from her bag, beginning to write and explain. Our parents were in an accident. The other party compensated us with 100,000 yuan. This money you haven't touched in the past few years. Working, you've also saved 170,000 yuan. Now we can use a total of 1.07 million yuan. Leon, please tell me all the necessary points for the items in your system store. I'll calculate how to use this money. Leon nodded and started listing the items one by one to Elah, while Adrian Muley, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Faulkner, Damien Kelly, Claude Weiss, and Victor Hale were not present. Their presence was not required in this conversation between the two siblings, as they discussed their plan to face the impending disaster, and with the spatial ring's capabilities, they aimed to accumulate enough resources to ensure their survival. As Allah and Leon continued to discuss and prepare, it was clear that they were determined to face whatever challenges lay ahead, with the spatial ring being their most valuable asset in this endeavor. Leon Hatman had quoted the prices. Water was 2.1 points per bottle, rice was 5 points per kilogram, pork was 10 points per kilogram, beef was 15 points per kilogram, and broccoli was 10 points per kilogram. Elah Voss remained silent, quietly taking notes. After a while, she finished writing. Her notebook was filled with 4 years of drafts. Then Elah Voss took out her laptop and began to work. First creating a 100 square meter design, carefully dividing the area, marking the required space for each type of supply. She considered the allocation of food, water, medical supplies, emergency tools, and daily necessities. Adrian Muley suggested, based on the capacity of the spatial ring and their budget, they should prioritize buying food with long shelf life, balanced nutrition, and not readily available in supermarkets, such as canned goods and vitamins, and also reserve some seeds and simple farming tools in case they had to take refuge for an extended period. They could try self-sufficiency, saving a lot of points. Rice and meat could be exchanged at the point store. These items took up space, so they could be stored in the system's warehouse, which could save a lot of space, Elah Voss said as she adjusted the shopping list on her laptop, her eyes shining with determination and hope. Meanwhile, medical supplies were also a top priority, including basic medications, bandages, and first aid kits. Celeste Beaumont added. Elias Koenig and Gabriel Weiss nodded in agreement. Sebastian Faulkner suggested they should also consider buying some communication devices. Damien Kelly and Claude Weiss discussed the importance of having a stable food source. Victor Hale proposed they should also think about purchasing some books on survival skills and farming. Elah Voss continued to type away on her laptop, her mind racing with ideas and plans as she worked tirelessly to ensure their survival. As the sun sets, Leon Hatman and Elah Voss collaborate to meticulously finalize their list, leaving no stone unturned. And after much calculation, they both feel quite exhausted, but Elah Voss swiftly begins placing online orders, leveraging the advantages of digital platforms to gather high-quality supplies at the most reasonable prices, ensuring every penny is spent wisely. And Leon Hatman suggests that they proceed with their plan, with Elah Voss heading out to purchase medication and some instant food, while Leon Hatman goes to find a few small eateries to buy more instant food and noodles, which can be stored for future consumption in case of power or water outages. And Ala Voss, while making orders on her phone, informs Leon Hatman that she is trying to accumulate points to buy a generator, solar panels, and batteries, which, although pricey, will be essential for their survival. And Ala Voss continues to elaborate on her plans, to which Leon Hatman listens intently, nodding in agreement. Understanding the importance of a generator for their future survival, despite its high cost, and the two assign tasks to each other. Lingering at the cafe for a while before leaving, with Adrian Mule, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabrielle Weiss, Sebastian Falkney, and Damien Kelly elsewhere, and Claw Weiss and Victor Hale also going about their day, as the group has 29 days left, and Leon Hatman and Ala Voss are determined to make the most of their time, with Leon Hatman suggesting that they should continue with their preparations, and Ala Voss agreeing, as they both know that their survival depends on it, and they must work together to achieve their goals, with each member of the group playing a vital role in their quest to overcome the challenges that lie ahead. Around this time, both of them took a break from work and school, with Ala Voss returning to handle the sale of her family's old house. And afterwards, they planned to purchase a large warehouse, but she reminded Leon Hatman to keep everything confidential to avoid drawing unwanted attention, knowing that if they were to splurge and disaster struck, they would undoubtedly become the target of others, since in such chaotic times, supplies were the foundation of survival. Leon Hatman nodded in understanding, after which Ala Voss transferred 170,000 yuan to Leon Hatman, and they each returned to their respective homes to rest. Upon arriving at his dormitory, Leon Hatman found that his 3 roommates were already asleep. Having a normal relationship with them, he quietly lay down on his bed, thought for a moment, and then fell into a deep sleep. The next morning, with 29 days left until the apocalypse, Leon Hatman woke up early, completed his personal hygiene, and then prepared to head to the lecture building to ask his teacher for a leave of absence. Along the way, Leon Hatman couldn't resist swiping his card a few times, but he didn't get anything, only stopping when he had 50 points left. He then continued on his way to find Adrian Mule, his teacher, to request some time off. As he walked, he thought about his plans with Ala Voss and how they would need to be careful in their preparations, since they couldn't let anyone suspect what they were up to, especially not people like Damien Kelly or Sebastian Falkney, who might try to take advantage of them. But for now, Leon Hatman just focused on his task at hand, finding his teacher and getting his leave of absence approved, so he could return to his plans with Ala Voss and prepare for the impending disaster with the help of his friends, including Victor Hale, Claw Weiss, and others. They would need to work together to survive. And Leon Hatman was determined to do just that. With the help of his friends and his own resourcefulness, he was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, including those that might be posed by people like Elias Koenig or Gabrielle Weiss, who might try to stand in their way. But Leon Hatman was confident that with his plans and the help of his friends, they would be able to overcome any obstacle and make it through the difficult times ahead. With Celeste Beaumont and others, they would need to be careful and strategic in their preparations, and Leon Hatman was determined to do just that and make sure they were all ready for whatever lay ahead. Leon Hatman gazed at a space ring that had used up its luck, then checked the task list. After seeing Ala Voss's enthusiastic work, the task list had been updated with many new tasks, but the reward points were generally not high, all around 100 to 200. Leon Hatman flipped through it for a long time, finally found a task with a generous reward, adopting 10 stray animals. Completing the task could receive 1,000 points. This task was exactly the type Leon Hatman liked. Without thinking much, he immediately accepted the task, then continued on his way to the lecture building. Upon arriving at the lecture building, Leon Hatman found his homeroom teacher. Citing family matters, he successfully asked for a long leave of absence. The teacher was slightly surprised, but saw Leon Hatman's serious face and didn't ask much. Just reminded him to be careful. After leaving school, Leon Hatman went straight to the stray animal shelter on the outskirts of the city. He knew that many small creatures without homes gathered there. He had previously been a volunteer there. At the shelter, Leon Hatman explained his purpose to the staff and expressed his determination to adopt stray animals. The staff was surprised and moved, immediately taking him on a tour and helping him choose suitable pets in the shelter. All kinds of stray animals, either curled up in corners or curiously looked at the new visitor. Leon Hatman gently moved, patiently examining each one, finally choosing 10 medium-sized dogs, 5 local dogs, 3 small deer, and 2 corgis. All medium-sized dogs. The staff saw his careful selection and special fondness for medium-sized dogs, smiled, and said, "These big ones may look fierce, but they're actually very gentle. Once they've recognized their owner, they'll be extremely loyal." Adian Muley, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falkney, Damien Kell, Claw Weiss, and Victor Hale were not present, but Leon Hatman's actions were filled with enthusiasm and dedication. As he spent time with the animals, his heart was filled with joy and a sense of purpose. It seems that Leon Hatman chose these 10 dogs for a reason, as he had previously seen a type of intelligent chip at the system's shopping mall, which had a powerful function that could enhance the intelligence and combat ability of pets. And if Leon Hatman could install this chip in his dogs, his safety would be maximized, since dogs are the most loyal friends of humans and would never betray their owners, which made Leon Hatman smile in satisfaction. But the chip was a bit expensive, costing 1,000 points each. Leon Hatman was not in a hurry. He still had 29 days to earn points. After completing the adoption procedure, Leon Hatman immediately contacted a famous local animal hospital to schedule a comprehensive examination and vaccination for the new members. Although the process was a bit tedious, after a busy morning, everything was basically taken care of, and upon examination, the health of the 10 dogs was fairly good, with only some minor skin problems and malnutrition, which made Leon Hatman very happy. He promptly paid $20,000 in cash to the animal hospital, expressing his wish to have them professionally treated as soon as possible. Everything was arranged, and Leon Hatman left the animal hospital happily, knowing that the dogs needed time to recover, so he decided to leave them in the hospital for professional care. Meanwhile, Ela Voss, Adian Muley, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falkney, Damien Kelly, Claw Weiss, and Victor Hale were all waiting to see how Leon Hatman would take care of his new pets, and they were all curious about the intelligent chip that Leon Hatman had seen, which could potentially change the way they interacted with their own pets. Leon Hatman had an appointment with a doctor 20 days later to pick up the adorable pets. And as he left, he was filled with joy and anticipation, imagining the scene 20 days later when he would meet them again. Meanwhile, Alavas and Adian Mullah were also looking forward to the next meeting. After completing these tasks, Leon Hatman received a notification from the system. The mission to adopt animals was completed, and he was rewarded with 1,000 points. Now he had a total of 1,050 points. Leon Hatman was satisfied and nodded his head, then took a ride to the famous snack street in the city, where he would sing and then go shopping. The snack street was bustling with people, with all kinds of delicious food smells, attracting passers-by. Leon Hatman wove through the crowded streets to the first store on his trip. Pork leg rice. Mr. Owner, a serving of pork leg rice, please, and make it spicy. Soon, a steaming hot serving of pork leg rice was brought out. The pork leg rice was placed in a white porcelain dish, emitting a fragrant aroma. The rice was soft and fluffy, with a layer of rich sauce on top. The sauce was dark brown and slightly smoky. The pork leg in the sauce was cut into small pieces and neatly arranged on top of the rice. Each piece was reddish brown and glossy. The skin was soft and the meat was fresh and juicy. Before even eating, Leon Hatman could sense the tenderness of the meat and the rich flavor of the sauce under the watchful eyes of Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, and Gabriel Weiss, who were also waiting for their food. Sebastian Falkney, Damian Kelly, Claw Weiss, and Victor Hale were enjoying their own meals, chatting and laughing. The atmosphere was lively and joyful, filled with the sounds of happy chatter and clinking dishes. As Leon Hatman gazed at the delectable dish of braised pork leg, his stomach growled with anticipation, and he couldn't help but feel an overwhelming urge to take a bite. He picked up his chopsticks, eager to savor the tender and flavorful meat. The pork leg, soft and succulent, melted in his mouth, leaving an unforgettable impression. The rich sauce infused into the meat, enhancing its flavor, and paired with the fragrant and fluffy rice, it was a match made in heaven. Having skipped breakfast, Leon Hatman was famished, and now he was relishing every morsel. As he chewed, he felt an intense sense of satisfaction, and his eyes wandered around the restaurant, mentally calculating how to make the most of his shopping trip. After finishing his meal, instead of leaving, he waited patiently for other customers to arrive. Before long, the lunch hour had passed, and the restaurant was empty, except for Leon Hatman. He then stood up and waved at the owner, who approached him, inquiring, "What's wrong? Are you dissatisfied with the food? You've been sitting here for a while." Leon Hatman quickly waved his hand, smiling. No, I'm very satisfied. I came to order some takeout meals." And he gestured for the owner to sit down. As Allah Voss, the owner, looked at him with a mix of curiosity and confusion, while Adian Mula, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falkney, Damian Kell, Claw Weiss, and Victor Hale were nowhere to be seen. But Leon Hatman was ready to place his order, and the owner, Allah Voss, was eager to take it, as the atmosphere in the restaurant was calm and serene, with Leon Hatman and Allah Voss engaged in a pleasant conversation. Leon Hatman's face lit up with a bright smile as he asked, "So, you're the one purchasing meals for the company or the construction project. How many orders do you need?" He was silently thrilled, thinking that this could be a huge business opportunity, and if successful, the profit would be substantial. Allah Voss smiled and replied calmly, "I'm bidding on a contract to provide lunch for an office building, around 7,800 meals per day, and I'm currently looking for a suitable restaurant. I think your place has a good flavor, so I want to try placing an order. If the company employees like the taste, then we can cooperate in the long term." Leon Hatman's eyes widened immediately, realizing that this was indeed a major client, and he thought to himself, "Oh, you've made the right choice," and continued, "My restaurant may not be very large, but we can definitely provide enough. And our restaurant has a team of professional chefs. All ingredients are purchased fresh daily, and hygiene standards are strictly controlled, so you can rest assured." Leon Hatman patted his chest to guarantee this, and his eyes sparkled with excitement. "As for the price, we can negotiate directly I'll give you the best price and flexible delivery service. How about it? Adi and Muli nodded, looking very satisfied, and asked, normally, it's 15 yuan per meal. If I order 800 meals this time, how much can you reduce the price for me? Leon Hatman thought for a moment, and then said, I can reduce 3 yuan per meal. At this moment, Ella Voss had accepted the reality, knowing she had to remain calm as the older sister and face the upcoming challenges together with her sibling. And so she said to Leon Hatman, we must plan carefully. With this spatial ring, we need to utilize it to stock up on supplies, ensuring we have the necessary conditions to survive when disaster strikes. Allah's voice was soft but exuded unwavering determination. Sister, we must now convert all our money into supplies. When disaster hits, this money will become worthless. I've experimented with the spatial ring. When I put objects in, they come out the same way, meaning time inside is static, so we don't need to worry about the supplies expiring or going bad. Except that it can't hold living things, Leon explained. Allah thought for a moment, then took out a notebook and pen from her bag, beginning to write and explain. Our parents were in an accident. The other party compensated us with 100,000 yuan. This money you haven't touched in the past few years. Working, you've also saved 170,000 yuan. Now we can use a total of 1.07 million yuan. Leon, please tell me all the necessary points for the items in your system store. I'll calculate how to use this money. Leon nodded and started listing the items one by one to Allah, while Adian Mula, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falkney, Damian Kelly, Claw Weiss, and Victor Hale were not present. Their presence was not required in this conversation between the two siblings, as they discussed their plan to face the impending disaster, and with the spatial ring's capabilities, they aimed to accumulate enough resources to ensure their survival. As Allah and Leon continued to discuss and prepare, it was clear that they were determined to face whatever challenges lay ahead, with the spatial ring being their most valuable asset in this endeavor. As Leon Hatman thought about his progress, he couldn't help but smile in satisfaction. Meanwhile, Allah Voss was also making good progress. Having successfully sold her parents' house for over 600,000 yuan, a significant amount for her at the moment, which would help her buy more supplies to prepare for the impending disaster. With the money in hand, Allah Voss didn't waste any time. Starting to shop immediately, she first used her connections to get in touch with manufacturers directly, then bought a large quantity of food, including instant noodles, rice, self-heating hot pot, and other items that could be stored for a long time and were easy to use. Next, she purchased a lot of medicines, such as those for fever and bandages to treat external wounds. In addition to food and medicine, Allah Voss also bought other necessities like flashlights, candles, and lighters. These items could become very valuable in the future, so she prepared them in advance. As a result, Allah Voss rented a 1,000 square meter warehouse to store the supplies she had bought. At night, the two sisters started a video call, sharing their progress and encouraging each other to prepare for the upcoming doomsday. Allah Voss reminded Adi and Mula to accumulate points to exchange for a space ring upgrade card. Adi and Muley looked at the upgrade card that cost 5,555 points in the system's shopping mall with a helpless expression. After reluctantly agreeing, both of them started to rest. The next morning, with 28 days left until doomsday, Allah Voss turned on her computer to continue shopping, while Adi and Mula left the hotel after waking up. Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falkney, Damian Kelly, Claw Weiss, and Victor Hale were all busy with their own preparations, each trying to get ready for the impending disaster in their own way. Leon Hatman was also getting ready, thinking about his next steps, and how to survive the coming catastrophe. Ila Voss and Adian Mule were working together, supporting each other, and trying to make the best of their situation. As the days went by, they would face many challenges, but they were determined to overcome them and make it through the tough times ahead. Leon Hatman gazed at a space ring that had used up its luck, then checked the task list. After seeing Ila Voss's enthusiastic work, the task list had been updated with many new tasks, but the reward points were generally not high, all around 100 to 200. Leon Hatman flipped through it for a long time, finally found a task with a generous reward, adopting 10 stray animals. Completing the task could receive 1,000 points. This task was exactly the type Leon Hatman liked. Without thinking much, he immediately accepted the task, then continued on his way to the lecture building. Upon arriving at the lecture building, Leon Hatman found his homeroom teacher. Citing family matters, he successfully asked for a long leave of absence. The teacher was slightly surprised, but saw Leon Hatman's serious face and didn't ask much, just reminded him to be careful. After leaving school, Leon Hatman went straight to the stray animal shelter on the outskirts of the city. He knew that many small creatures without homes gathered there. He had previously been a volunteer there, at the shelter. Leon Hatman explained his purpose to the staff and expressed his determination to adopt stray animals. The staff was surprised and moved, immediately taking him on a tour and helping him choose suitable pets in the shelter. All kinds of stray animals, either curled up in corners or curiously looked at the new visitor. Leon Hatman gently moved, patiently examining each one, finally choosing 10 medium-sized dogs, 5 local dogs, 3 small deer, and 2 corgis, all medium-sized dogs. The staff saw his careful selection and special fondness for medium-sized dogs, smiled and said, "These big ones may look fierce, but they're actually very gentle. Once they've recognized their owner, they'll be extremely loyal." Adian Mule, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falkney, Damien Kell, Claw Weiss, and Victor Hale were not present. But Leon Hatman's actions were filled with enthusiasm and dedication as he spent time with the animals. His heart was filled with joy and a sense of purpose. As Leon Hatman's emotions swirled, his hands didn't stop moving, knowing that each quick meal he collected brought him and his sister Ila Voss closer to survival in the impending apocalypse. And after gathering all the meals, his spatial ring was full, with less than 5,000 yuan left in his account. So his next task was to complete the system's missions before the apocalypse, accumulate points, and find a hiding place. Currently having 1,050 points, Leon Hatman thought for a moment and decided to try his luck a few times, visiting a milk tea shop, ordering a cup, and sitting in a corner, eagerly opening the system interface and clicking on the lucky draw option. 10 points per attempt. Come on! Leon Hatman prayed. The system's lucky draw started, bringing anticipation and tension, each attempt feeling like a gamble with fate, possibly yielding a rich harvest or nothing at all. The system responded with a repetition of thanks for participating, which prompted Leon Hatman to curse in frustration. Meanwhile, Adian Mule, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falkney, Damien Kelle, Claw Weiss, and Victor Hale were all dealing with their own struggles. As Leon Hatman's attempts continued, he couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and desperation, hoping to get something, anything, from the lucky draw. But the system's repeated thanks for participating were starting to get on his nerves. As he thought about his situation and the people around him, including Ila Voss, who was counting on him, he steeled himself and continued to try his luck, pouring all his hopes into the lucky draw, willing to risk it all for a chance at a better future. Leon Hatman was over the moon as he had just received a 6th Sense capsule through a lucky draw. And he couldn't help but think that sometimes you have to be a little rough to get what you want, and it seemed that this lucky draw was the perfect example of that. And he quickly checked the effects of the capsule, which could help ordinary people activate their 6th sense, and if someone had already activated their 6th sense, it would further enhance it, which wasn't bad at all, as he could use it to help his sister increase her strength, and Leon Hatman was already thinking of ways to surprise his sister with this gift, knowing that in a world on the brink of disaster, every little bit of strength counted, and it meant an extra chance of survival. And with that in mind, Adi and Mula rushed forward, shouting loudly as Leon Hatman immediately clicked to start another lucky draw. And soon, a message appeared, congratulating him on receiving an upgrade card, which was an extremely valuable item, worth up to 5,555 points in the system store. And Leon Hatman's eyes widened in shock as he stared at the screen in front of him, his mouth agape, as if he could fit an entire orange inside, and he thought to himself, this is just too good to be true. And he was still trying to process the fact that he had managed to obtain such a precious item through a lucky draw, and he couldn't wait to see how it would change his life and the lives of those around him, like his sister, Ala Voss, and friends, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falkney, Damian Kelly, Claw Weiss, and Victor Hale, who would all be green with envy when they found out about his good fortune. Leon Hatman excitedly jumped up, his face filled with a happy and contented smile, exclaiming, "What a huge gain! What a huge gain!" as he thought about his recent lucky visit, which had brought him not only 1 but 10 valuable items, all of which were rewards for participation, leaving him pleasantly surprised and thrilled, with Adi and Mula shaking his head in amazement, thinking that Leon's good fortune had finally run out. And then Leon closed the visit interface, opened his inventory, and clicked on the upgrade card, after which a bright light appeared, and a chip card emerged in Leon's hand. He played with it for a while before gently swiping it into a ring, and the upgrade card instantly merged into the ring's space. With a gentle sound, the space ring successfully upgraded, its space increasing tenfold. Leon felt the ring in his hand heat up slightly, and then the system's reminder sounded, filling him with indescribable excitement, as the space ring upgrade meant that he and his friends, including Ela Voss, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falkney, and Damian Kelly, could store more supplies, better preparing them for the impending doom. Leon eagerly checked the upgraded space ring, finding that its previously limited space had suddenly expanded greatly, now with an area of 1,000 square meters. Leon nodded in satisfaction, secretly pleased with his good fortune, which had allowed him to obtain such a valuable upgrade card. And with the space ring successfully upgraded, his next priority was to accumulate enough points to enhance his own strength. So Leon clicked on the task menu without hesitation, carefully browsing through the various tasks, including those that Claw, Weiss, and Victor Hale had recommended, as he began planning his next move, feeling a sense of relief and anticipation for the future. As Leon Hatman walked away from the dessert shop, he immediately took action, participating in various tasks with enthusiasm, no longer concerned about the specific points each task offered, for he had become a task-obsessed individual, willing to put his all into completing any task, regardless of its difficulty or point value. Having transformed into an utter task enthusiast, the tasks presented by the system were incredibly diverse, leaving one bewildered. Some seemed straightforward, like escorting an elderly lady across the street or giving up his seat to a senior on the bus. But in reality, they were filled with unexpected twists and requirements, These tasks appeared to defy conventional logic, making them incomprehensible. Furthermore, some tasks, although offering minimal points, were extremely humiliating, such as performing 10 consecutive hands-free flips in a crowded street, which would undoubtedly draw strange stares from onlookers, or pretending to be a beggar to ask for 10 cents, an act that would not only invite disdainful and mocking glances from passers-by, but also severely damage one's self-esteem. On one occasion, the task even required Leon Hatman to defecate in the middle of the street, leaving him stunned. He couldn't believe the system would come up with such a task. In his heart, he was 100% unwilling, feeling utterly humiliated. Yet when he saw the 1,000 points the task offered, which could be exchanged for many valuable things, he hesitated, as his friends, including Ala Voss, Adian Mule, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Faulkner, Damien Kell, Claude Weiss, and Victor Hale, looked on. They too were engaged in their own tasks, each with their own struggles and humiliations. But they all shared the same goal: to earn as many points as possible, no matter the cost. And as they navigated through the challenges, they began to realize that the system's tasks were not just about completing absurd requirements, but also about testing their resolve, courage, and determination. After a long period of contemplation, Leon Hatman finally made a firm decision to accept the mission, as the points were of utmost importance to him. At 1 a.m. that night, the entire city was shrouded in silence. Leon Hatman wore a black windbreaker, put on a hat, and wore a gag, carefully stepping out of the hotel. He chose a deserted street, ensuring there was no one around. Then, he looked around tensely, confirming that no one was paying attention to him before taking action. He took a deep breath, slowly undressed, and squatted down. Facing such bizarre mission settings, Leon Hatman felt utterly helpless. He couldn't help but wonder if the system was truly reliable, why it always arranged such strange and difficult tasks for him. Every time he completed a mission, he fell into deep self-doubt, unsure what absurd and ridiculous tasks awaited him next. However, despite feeling dissatisfied and rebellious, Leon Hatman had to continue accepting these missions, as he understood that not completing them would mean he couldn't accumulate enough points to ensure his safety. Therefore, no matter how unwilling he was, he could only grit his teeth and persevere. As time passed, Leon Hatman performed the system check 10 times every day, which also helped him obtain some good items. And when he accumulated 100 system checks, the system specially rewarded him with a prize, a sword called Long Wen's Sword. When Leon Hatman took this sword out of the system's inventory, a strong aura surged forth, and the sword's body shimmered with a mystical light, its hilt inlaid with a precious stone with a dragon pattern engraved on it. And the name of the sword was carved in a bold, exquisite font. And at that moment, Ala Voss, Adian Mule, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Faulkner, and Damien Kelly all seemed to be waiting with bated breath for Leon Hatman's next move, while Claude Weiss and Victor Hale watched from the shadows, their eyes fixed intently on Leon Hatman, who now held the powerful Long Wen sword. Leon Hatman was astonished by the appearance of the sword, but what was even more surprising was its sharpness, as Ala Voss witnessed the sword's incredible ability to slice through the air with ease, and when Adian Mule used it to cut a hard rock, the result was effortless, like cutting through soft tofu. And when Celeste Beaumont placed a hair on the blade and gently blew on it, the hair snapped instantly, showcasing the sword's extraordinary sharpness, which exceeded Elias Koenig's imagination. And he was thrilled, swinging the sword and feeling its immense power. With such a powerful weapon, his combat strength would undoubtedly increase significantly. And with the apocalypse just around the corner, only 8 days away, Leon Hatman had stopped working on his tasks, having already accumulated 4,000 points and having completed most of his missions. He planned to build a safe shelter, while Claw Weiss, on the other hand, had spent all her money, having completed her shopping, and thanks to her meticulous planning, she had managed to stock up on a large quantity of supplies with just over 1.6 million currency. And Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falcone, and Damien Kella were all making their own preparations. And Victor Hale was also getting ready. As the day of reckoning approached, and everyone was busy with their own tasks, trying to make the most of the little time they had left. And Leon Hatman, with his new sword, felt a sense of excitement and hope as he embarked on his next adventure with his friends, including Ella Voss, Adrian Moulet, Celeste Beaumont, and Elias Koenig, all working together to face the challenges that lay ahead. As Leon Hatman finished stocking up on supplies, he felt a sense of relief, knowing that Ella Voss and he would have enough to sustain themselves for the next 30 years. And with each vehicle full of supplies arriving at the rented warehouse, his heart finally felt at ease. Seeing their hard work paying off, he knew that their efforts were not in vain, and their mission was nearing a successful completion. All that was left was to build a secret hideout and wait for the impending doom. Meanwhile, Adrien Moulet was busy with his own tasks. On this particular day, he was in a hurry to leave the hotel, as he had an important matter to attend to, welcoming home 10 dogs that were being treated at the animal hospital. These dogs were all rescued by him from an animal shelter, and each had their own health issues. After a period of treatment, they were finally ready to be discharged. Upon arriving at the animal hospital, the doctor was already waiting for him at the entrance. The doctor briefed him on the necessary care and precautions for each dog. Adrien Moulet listened attentively and took notes, promising to provide them with proper care. Afterwards, he and the doctor loaded the 10 dogs onto a tricycle, and he thanked the doctor. With the 10 dogs in tow, Adrien Moulet headed to the outskirts to meet up with Celeste Beaumont. Along the way, he was filled with joy, thinking about the upcoming reunion. Elsewhere, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, and Sebastian Falcone were also busy with their own preparations, while Damien Kelly and Claw Weiss were working together, and Victor Hale was making his own arrangements. As the day went on, Leon Hatman and Ella Voss were getting closer to achieving their goals, and Adrien Moulet was excited to see his friends and the dogs settles into their new home. As Leon Hatman arrived at the warehouse on the outskirts of town, a massive space of over 1,000 square meters, he was greeted by Ella Voss, who had been waiting for him with a smile, her eyes sparkling with excitement and anticipation. "Finally, you're here," she said, gesturing towards the warehouse. "Drive up a bit. The warehouse is just over there." Leon Hatman chuckled in response. "You've been working hard for the past few days, haven't you?" He parked his three-wheeler and eagerly walked towards the warehouse. As he pushed open the door, his eyes widened in amazement at the sight before him, his heart filled with astonishment. The warehouse was packed to the brim with all sorts of supplies, neatly arranged and stacked like mountains, including food, drinks, daily necessities, medical supplies, and protective equipment. Everything was well stocked. The supplies seemed like a robust fortress, providing a sense of security. "Wow!" Leon Hatman exclaimed, his eyes wide with wonder, his heart overflowing with emotion as he gazed at the towering piles of supplies before him. Leon Hatman and Ella Voss were thrilled as they surveyed the plethora of supplies they had acquired, which would serve as a crucial guarantee for their survival in the future. And Ella Voss, beaming with pride, asked softly, "How's that, Leon? Are you satisfied?" Leon Hatman nodded vigorously, exclaiming, satisfied, extremely satisfied. And Ella Voss smiled gently, confident in her ability to procure these items at the lowest possible price by finding the direct manufacturer, ensuring that every penny was well spent. And Leon Hatman, filled with gratitude and admiration, remarked, "You've worked so hard." And Ella Voss reassured him, "It's not hard work, everything is worth it. Now, quickly use the spatial ring to store all these items. We still have our main task to attend to," and Leon Hatman promptly took out the spatial ring and began storing the supplies, feeling increasingly at ease as the items disappeared into the ring, for having ample supplies in this future world meant a greater chance of survival. And when the last item was stored, Leon Hatman grasped the ring tightly, and he and Ella Voss exchanged a smile, their eyes filled with anticipation for the future. Then, after storing all the supplies, they boarded a 3-wheeled vehicle that appeared old but was extremely sturdy and headed towards their next destination, which was a place that Ella Voss had spent a considerable amount of time searching for. And it was indeed a naturally secluded location. And as they journeyed on, they were accompanied by their friends, Adrian Mueller, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Faulkner, Damien Kelly, Claw Weiss, and Victor Hale, all of whom were vital to their quest, and together they ventured into the unknown, with their ultimate goal still shrouded in mystery. But with the supplies they had acquired, they felt a sense of hope and reassurance that they would overcome the challenges that lay ahead. And as they rode on, the scenery around them changed, and they finally arrived at a place that seemed perfect, a location that Ella Voss had discovered after much effort. And as they dismounted their vehicle, they couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement and trepidation, for they knew that this place held the key to their survival, and they were ready to face whatever lay ahead, united and determined with the supplies they had procured and the bond of friendship that tied them together. They were ready to embark on the next stage of their journey, and as they stood there, they shared a moment of contemplative silence, savoring the beauty of their surroundings and the promise of a new beginning. And with that, they steeled themselves for the challenges that awaited them, their hearts filled with a sense of purpose and belonging. And they knew that as long as they stood together, they could overcome anything. And so, with renewed hope and determination, they pressed on into the unknown, their spirits unbroken, and their will to survive unshaken. As Leon Hatman sat in the driver's seat, he skillfully controlled the steering wheel, and the 3-wheeled vehicle carrying Ella Voss and 10 dogs slowly made its way up the winding mountain road, which led directly to the summit, surrounded by steep cliffs that seemed impossible to overcome, separating this land from the outside world. When they finally reached the top, Leon couldn't help but express his genuine admiration and appreciation for Ella's choice, as before them lay a vast, boundless expanse of lush green grass, with a raised area in the back that created a striking contrast with the surrounding landscape. Leon's eyes were fixed on the elevated area, and he felt an overwhelming urge to build a hideout there, which would be an incredible opportunity, with the high ground providing a significant advantage in terms of visibility, allowing for easy observation of the surroundings and protection of oneself, while also offering a certain level of defense, making it difficult for enemies to attack. Ella, with a gentle smile, replied to Leon's enthusiastic question about the cost of renting the place, saying it was only 1,000 yuan per month, as the mountain was quite high and relatively remote, so not many people wanted to rent it. But after surveying the area, she found the conditions suitable and promptly signed the rental contract. And then, with a determined gaze, she told Leon that they would build a solid hideout there. And as they began to discuss their plans, Adrian Muehl, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falkny, Damian Kelly, Claw Weiss, and Victor Hale all arrived, ready to contribute to the construction of their new hideout. With their combined skills and expertise, they would create a safe and secure base, and as they started working together, they all felt a sense of excitement and anticipation for their new project. With Leon and Allah leading the way, they were all eager to see their vision become a reality. Ah, right. Leon Hartman had already secured a shelter before, so Adrian Mueller suggested that this was the perfect moment for Leon to start organizing it, his words carrying a tone of firm confidence and determination. Adrian showed no hesitation as he nodded repeatedly in agreement, yet he knew there was still one extremely important task waiting for him: implanting advanced smart chips into the 10 dogs. Each chip was expensive, costing 1,000 points, and Adrian only had 40,000 points left, but after careful consideration, he clenched his jaw and resolved to purchase all 10. Holding the small but powerful chips in his hands, Adrian felt a mix of anticipation and anxiety rise within him, knowing the investment was significant. Standing beside him, Elias Koenig appeared worried, quietly wondering whether these chips could truly deliver such extraordinary effects and whether they might pose any hidden risk to the aging dogs. She murmured her concerns while watching the 10 animals with gentle, protective eyes. Still, she added that since the dogs were already old and in poor condition, if the chips could improve their health and strengthen their abilities, it would be a tremendous benefit for everyone. Celeste Beaumont and Gabriel Weiss expressed their support as well, while Sebastian Faulkner and Damian Keller continued observing the situation thoughtfully. Meanwhile, Clara Weiss and Victor Hale tended to the dogs and prepared them for the implantation, and Alara Voss remained at Adrian's side, closely watching every step of the process. As soon as the words were spoken, Leon Hatman gently stroked the heads of these dogs and then patted Claw Weiss on the head, and she instantly dove into the process, the chip implantation procedure going smoothly, to the point where almost none of the dogs showed any signs of resistance or discomfort. And after a while, the eyes of the 10 dogs suddenly changed, and then their fur started to become thicker and their vitality began to increase. And shortly after, their bodies seemed to be stretched and recreated by an invisible force, with their muscular outlines gradually becoming prominent, displaying unprecedented strength and power, their 4 limbs becoming even more sturdy, each step they took causing the ground to slightly tremble, as if they could easily shake mountains and rivers, their physique having doubled in size in an extremely short period of time, not only rivaling that of large Alaskan dogs, but also exceeding it in terms of grandeur, exuding a wild and majestic aura that couldn't be underestimated. And after the chip implantation was complete, the dogs, who were originally weak and sickly, suddenly became full of life, wildly wagging their tails towards Adrian Mula and Allah Voss. Adrian Mula and Allah Voss standing to one side, their eyes fixed intently on the 10 figures gradually taking shape, their eyes both shining with excitement and shock. It's too powerful. This investment is really worth it. Yes, looking at them, we will have a team of guard dogs. Leon Hatman stroked the dogs that had undergone a transformation, feeling the new strength surging through their bodies, his heart filled with trust and hope for the future. And with Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falkny, Damian Kelly, and Victor Hale by their side, they all shared the same excitement and anticipation. Celeste Beaumont's eyes were also gleaming with a strong sense of expectation as they all watched the dogs, now fully transformed with their remarkable strength and agility. And they all knew that these dogs would play a crucial role in their future endeavors, with Claw Weiss being the key to unlocking their full potential. And as they stood there, they couldn't help but feel a deep sense of satisfaction and accomplishment, knowing that their hard work and dedication had finally paid off. And now, they were one step closer to achieving their goals. With their team of powerful guard dogs by their side, they felt invincible, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. And with their combined strength and determination, they were confident that they would overcome any obstacle, and their bond would only continue to grow stronger as they stood together, united in their pursuit of a brighter future. Leon Hatman knew that with such strong companions by their side, their journey ahead would be even more solid. And now came the exciting moment of naming these adorable little furballs. Ella Voss exclaimed, as Leon first pointed to the 5 puppies, his eyes carefully scanning the unique coat colors of each little dog. The cute puppy with the coat full of spots like flowers would be called Little Flower, and the little puppy with a body as white as snow would naturally be called Little White. Looking over here, the black puppy as black as coal would be called Little Black, and the yellow puppy shining like the sun would be called Little Yellow. And finally, the puppy with the orange coat could only be called Little Orange. Leon said in one breath, his face full of a sense of accomplishment, as Adrian Müller and Celeste Beaumont watched with interest. Meanwhile, Sebastian Falkny and Gabriel Weiss stood by, observing the scene. Elias Koenig and Damien Kelly were also present, and Claw Weiss couldn't help but giggle at the sight. Victor Hale was smiling, as Leon then turned his attention to the 3 German Shepherd puppies. He thought for a moment before speaking. The 3 of you, from largest to smallest, would be called Big Virtue, Medium Virtue, and Little Virtue. How's that? Claw Weiss heard this and couldn't help but roll her eyes, thinking to herself, what strange names. It's really making me want to laugh and cry. As the others watched with amusement, Leon's naming process was quite entertaining, and Ella Voss was trying not to laugh at the silly names, while Adrien Muley and Celeste Beaumont were exchanging glances. And Sebastian Falkny was chuckling to himself. It was clear that Leon's naming style was quite unique, and the group was enjoying the light-hearted moment. As they all stood there, surrounded by the newly named puppies, the atmosphere was filled with joy and laughter. Leon Hatman's eyes finally settled on the 2 intelligent and agile sheepdogs, gently stroking their soft fur as he affectionately said, "You 2 will be called Little Mutt and Big Mutt from now on," and the dogs responded with a series of eager barks. To which Ella Voss, standing opposite Leon, was left speechless, unable to agree with the simple and uncreative names he had chosen for the dogs, and she could only quietly shake her head in disapproval. Meanwhile, Leon suggested, now that we have our canine companions, let's start building our hideout, his eyes shining with determination, and Ella nodded in agreement. Having already envisioned a detailed design for their hideout, she pulled out a detailed blueprint, which marked every aspect of the hideout, from defense mechanisms to living quarters, and explained, "This is the design I came up with based on the terrain. Do you think we need to add anything?" Leon took the blueprint and carefully examined it, silently admiring Allah's attention to detail, and then shared his own thoughts and suggestions. After some discussion, they finally settled on a plan, and Leon accessed the system, clicking on the safe hideout option that had been provided earlier, and dragged it to the raised area, then clicked on settings, and the ground began to rumble, emitting a low-pitched hum as the land started to slowly sink, resembling a massive trap opening its mouth. And Adrien Müller, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falkny, Damien Keller, Claw Weiss, and Victor Hale, who were all nearby, watched in awe as the hideout began to take shape, with Leon and Allah working together seamlessly to bring their vision to life. However, it all wasn't over yet. As the ground sank to a certain level, it swiftly rose up with an astonishing speed, and in the blink of an eye, a sturdy hideout emerged, standing tall and majestic like a gigantic monster rising from the earth. This hideout took the shape of an ordinary, luxurious villa. Its entire structure had 3 floors, excluding the garden, covering an area of 7,800 square meters. The villa was surrounded by a 3-meter-high iron fence, like a strong fortress wall, tightly protecting the entire hideout. Its efficiency was truly beyond imagination. Leon Hatman's eyes widened in awe, hardly believing. Ala Voss standing beside him couldn't hide her excitement, marveling. Previously, she was worried that time was too tight, but Leon's system was so powerful, it really broadened her horizons. Come on, let's go in and take a look. Leon Hatman regained his composure, enthusiastically suggesting, okay. Ala Voss happily agreed. The two of them walked lightly into this miraculous hideout. New guard dogs had been arranged to guard the villa, preventing others from approaching. As they entered, they were greeted by the sight of Adrian Müller, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falkney, and Damian Kelly, who were all waiting inside. Claude Weiss and Victor Hale were also there, observing the surroundings with great interest. The atmosphere was filled with a sense of excitement and curiosity. As they all began to explore this incredible hideout, they were amazed by its sheer size and magnificent design. It was a truly extraordinary place, and they couldn't wait to see what other secrets it held. Leon Hatman and Ala Voss led the way as they ventured deeper into the heart of the hideout, discovering its many wonders and unraveling its mysteries, one by one. As Leon Hatman and Ala Voss stepped into the hiding place, they were struck by its intricate layout, which had been automatically divided into various areas with distinct functions, including a cozy living area and a bright, spacious activity zone, among others. Each area was meticulously designed to be both independent and interconnected, forming a perfect living space. Ala Voss suggested, in a gentle tone, that they split up to thoroughly examine each room, her beautiful and determined eyes gleaming with a hint of courage and decision-making. Leon Hatman nodded silently in agreement, and they quickly got to work, beginning their in-depth exploration of the hiding place. As time passed, they met up again on the first floor, where they exchanged information and pieced together the clues they had gathered, gradually revealing the full picture of the hiding place. The hiding place was divided into 3 floors, with the top floor containing only one room, which housed a notable supercomputer. Earlier, Ala Voss had curiously approached the machine, attempting to start it, but despite her efforts, the screen remained unresponsive. After careful consideration, she theorized that the computer might not have been activated yet, possibly requiring specific conditions or a password to unlock its powerful functions. The second floor featured 4 spacious and comfortable bedrooms, each equipped with its own bathroom and shower, providing a warm, homey feeling. The first floor, on the other hand, was more diverse, starting with an enormous living room where Adrian Müller, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falkney, Damian Kelly, Claude Weiss, and Victor Hale would later gather to discuss their findings. And as they delved deeper, they discovered more about the hiding place, including its various facilities and clever design, which left them all in awe. And as they continued to explore, they began to unravel the secrets of the hiding place, with each new discovery sparking their curiosity and fueling their determination to uncover the truth. And they soon found themselves enthralled by the intricate details and clever mechanisms that made the hiding place a truly remarkable and mysterious place. And as they pressed on, they encountered more surprises, including the hiding place's unique security features and cleverly concealed passages, which added to the sense of adventure and excitement, and they couldn't help but wonder what other secrets the hiding place held, and what lay behind its mysterious and intriguing design. And as they explored further, they began to appreciate the genius and craftsmanship that had gone into creating the hiding place, and they found themselves drawn into a world of discovery and exploration where every new find sparked their imagination and fueled their desire to uncover the truth. And they soon realized that the hiding place was more than just a physical structure, but a gateway to a world of wonder and excitement, full of secrets waiting to be uncovered. And as they delved deeper, they knew that they had only scratched the surface of the hiding place's secrets, and they were eager to continue their journey of discovery and see where it would lead them and what other secrets they would uncover. And as they stood there, surrounded by the hiding place's secrets and mysteries, they knew that they had stumbled upon something truly remarkable, and they were determined to explore every nook and cranny and uncover every secret, no matter what it took. And they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, and to follow the trail of clues, no matter where it led. And they were excited to see what the future held and what other adventures awaited them. And as they stood there, they knew that they were in for a journey of a lifetime, and they were eager to see what the future held and to uncover the secrets of the hiding place and to explore its many wonders. And they were ready to face whatever lay ahead with courage, determination, and a sense of adventure. And they knew that they would always stand together as a team and face whatever challenges came their way. And they were excited to see what the future held and to uncover the secrets of the hiding place and to explore its many wonders. In a room filled with an assortment of gaming devices, from classic PS3 consoles to the latest PS5, alongside 5 high-performance computers, Leon Hatman and his friends found themselves surrounded by an incredible gaming setup, with an adjacent home theater that boasted an extensive collection of films from around the world, including Hollywood blockbusters and independent art house movies, all of which could be enjoyed on a high-definition projector, while the rest of the space included a clean and tidy bathroom and 5 cozy bedrooms, totaling 8 rooms on the first floor. However, all of the equipment remained inactive, without electricity or water, until Leon Hatman activated the system, revealing a detailed and accurate map of the hidden location on the interface before him, displaying a dark tone like a sleeping monster, waiting to be awakened. And upon touching the screen with his finger, a prominent notification popped up, asking if he wanted to spend 10,000 points to activate the infinite power source, which left him stunned. And when he shared the message with Ella Voss, she showed no hesitation in making a decision, her eyes fixed and her tone firm as she said to purchase it, seemingly having full confidence in the so-called infinite power source. And Adian Mula, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falkney, Damian Kelly, Claw Weiss, and Victor Hale all waited with bated breath to see what would happen next, as Leon Hatman and Ella Voss discussed the possibility of unlocking the infinite power source. With Leon Hatman still looking puzzled and Ella Voss appearing determined, while the others observed the scene unfold, filled with anticipation and curiosity about the mysterious hidden location and its potential. Leon Hatman confirmed with a click, and immediately a humming noise filled the air as the first and second floors of the map structure where he was hiding lit up, and the system issued a gentle reminder. Congratulations, you have successfully activated the infinite power source. All electrical devices in the hidden place have been fully started and can provide continuous unlimited power, and there will be no circuit or damage issues. Overjoyed, Leon Hatman was on the verge of jumping up, exclaiming, "This is incredible. It's worth every penny." His heart was filled with excitement, and he had initially planned to buy a generator from the system store, but now it seemed entirely unnecessary. The system then asked, "Dear Master, Would you like to spend 10,000 points to activate all the water sources in the hidden place? Leon Hatman enthusiastically agreed and clicked confirm, and the system responded. The water source in the hidden place has been activated. All pipes and water outlets can use the infinite water source. The water is pure and can be drunk directly. After the system's reminder, the map structure of the hidden place displayed, and all the water outlets had been activated. Allah Voss quickly went to test it, and the water outlet started flowing with water, which was sweet and even more delicious than spring water. As Leon Hatman and Allah Voss gazed into each other's eyes, their faces lit up with boundless hope for the future. They knew that with their fully equipped hideout and unlimited energy, they could survive here until the end of the world, no matter what changes occurred outside. To further enhance their security, they decided to strengthen the defenses around their hideout, and Allah Voss suggested setting up traps and alarm systems around the perimeter, as well as training guard dogs to ensure that no movement could escape their notice. However, the supercomputer on the third floor of the hideout was too difficult to unlock, requiring 100,000 points to access, which was a challenge for Leon Hatman, who only had 10,000 points left. After a long time, Allah Voss finally spoke up, her voice barely above a whisper, with a glint of incredulity in her eyes. With their precious remaining points, Leon Hatman carefully selected and purchased a large number of sturdy traps, which he skillfully placed along the only path leading up the mountain, serving as invisible guardians, quietly waiting for any strangers who might threaten the safety of their hideout. Furthermore, Leon Hatman utilized his extraordinary abilities to the fullest, wielding the mystical and powerful Thon Long Wen sword, and without hesitation, he chopped down massive trees, then transported them to the outside of their hideout, meticulously constructing a sturdy wooden fence. Meanwhile, Adrian Mule, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falconet, Damien Kelly, Claw Weiss, and Victor Hale were all working together to ensure their survival, each contributing their unique skills to the group's overall safety and well-being, as they all knew that their hideout was their only hope for surviving the impending disaster. Leon Hatman and Elah Voss's new defense line was like a solid wall, providing an additional layer of protection for their hideout, and with careful consideration, they maintained high vigilance with their surroundings, as Leon Hatman skillfully installed advanced surveillance cameras at key locations, such as the mountain roads and outside the fence, allowing them to monitor every slight movement outside the hideout in real time. Ensuring that any disturbance could not escape their watchful eyes, it was as if the entire hideout was being closely monitored by countless invisible eyes, making it impossible for potential dangers to hide. After completing these tasks, Leon Hatman's points were almost depleted, but the effect was extremely remarkable. Meanwhile, Allah Voss focused on optimizing their living environment. She made a special trip down the mountain to buy plants and air purifiers, making their hideout cozy and full of life. She even planned a small farm in the yard, using hydroponics and recycling to provide necessary food for long-term survival. When Leon Hatman finished installing the last fence, he was satisfied and engraved his name on it. At this moment, the system's reminder suddenly sounded. Adrian Mule detected the existence of the domain owner and began to scan the domain. Accompanied by a soft electronic sound, the entire hideout was covered by an invisible layer of light. The system began to carefully analyze every inch of land, every defense line, and the living facilities, as Celeste Beaumont and Elias Koenig, along with Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falconet, and Damien Kell, all waited anxiously for the results, while Claw Weiss and Victor Hale stood guard, watching over the hideout, ensuring their safety, and then the system continued its analysis. evaluating the domain's overall strength and defenses. As the scanning progressed, the data was being processed, and the results would soon be revealed, leaving everyone in anticipation of what the outcome would be and how it would impact their lives in the hideout. Leon Hatman stood to the side, feeling both anxious and excited as he waited for the results. And before long, the gentle and melodious reminder tone of the system sounded once again. Ding dong! Scanning successful. Hearty congratulations to the owner for successfully building their own base, which is currently at the primary stage. The infrastructure within the base is fully equipped, but unfortunately, the defensive capabilities are relatively weak. Considering this situation, a special gift of a super-grade metal alloy wall that can be said to be invincible will be presented to the owner. It's up to the owner to decide whether to install it immediately or not. Upon hearing this news, Leon Hatman was overjoyed and secretly admired the all-powerful system for being so thoughtful. Such a precious gift. Of course, he had to accept it without any hesitation and install it immediately, and so Leon Hatman couldn't restrain his excitement and enthusiasm. Quickly and decisively pressed the confirmation button, and in that instant, magic happened. The originally simple wooden fence suddenly and violently began to undergo a miraculous transformation. It seemed as if it was being burned by an invisible flame, but without any flames or smoke, only a gradual solidification into an impenetrable fortress. The color also changed from the brown yellow of the wood to a cold gray silver. In the blink of an eye, the entire fence had transformed into a dazzling super-grade metal alloy wall that not only had a magnificent appearance but also exuded a formidable defensive power. Leon Hatman's eyes widened in utter astonishment, hardly able to believe the sight before him, his heart overflowing with shock and boundless joy, as he hastily rushed to the wall and gently touched its cold, metallic surface. The solid sensation from his fingertips confirming that all of this was real. The super alloy wall stood 78 meters tall, difficult to climb, with 4 observation decks that could survey the enemy's situation and even launch attacks from above. The entrance to the super alloy wall had only one access point, and the super alloy door could only be opened by Ela Voss within the system, which undoubtedly added a powerful layer of defense, capable of fending off 90% of enemies. This was just too great, Leon Hatman muttered to himself, turning his head to see Claw Weiss running towards him, looking just as surprised and delighted. With the construction of the super alloy wall, the base's external defense capabilities had taken a massive leap forward. And now, Leon Hatman's hideout had a new, resounding name within the base system. This land, the Hatman base, was the only one of its kind. Within the system, a detailed record of each person's information was kept, and anyone who chose to join the Hatman base would have their trustworthiness displayed on this list. At this moment, the list was empty, with only one person at the top, Celeste Beaumont. As Leon Hatman's sister, her trustworthiness was remarkably high, at 99%. According to the system settings, a trustworthiness score from 0 to 50 meant that the person could betray at any moment, and now, with the base's defense strengthened, Leon Hatman felt a sense of security and pride, knowing that he had taken a significant step towards protecting himself and those he cared about, like Adrian Müller, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falkny, Damien Kell, and Victor Hale. And as he stood there, basking in the glory of his newfound security, Leon Hatman couldn't help but feel grateful for the incredible turn of events that had led him to this point, and he knew that he would do everything in his power to maintain and improve the Hatman base. With the help of his friends and allies, he would ensure that their trustworthiness and loyalty would continue to grow, and that their bond would remain unbreakable. Leon Hatman noted that the loyalty level, ranging from 51 to 80, represents a normal level of dedication, and without special benefits, individuals within this range are unlikely to betray their territory. However, when the value increases to 81 to 90, it signifies that the person is trustworthy and won't betray their territory. And when the loyalty reaches 91, it means the person will never betray and will be absolutely dedicated to their base. Elias Koenig and the others were pleased to see the current state of their base, Hao Duong, which had finally taken shape. With Ela Voss as the deputy base leader, and Sebastian Falkny, Gabriel Weiss, and Victor Hale as part of the base's protection team, along with 10 large dogs that were also being taken care of. Their health status was excellent, although there was still room for improvement. Leon Hatman felt extremely satisfied with the current situation. The base was located in a remote area, hidden among the mountains. As if isolated from the world, the only way to reach it was through a single path. But this path was filled with various traps and pitfalls, and even if someone managed to climb to the top of the mountain, what awaited them was not an easy task. A super strong alloy wall stood tall, with another layer of protection behind it, and 10 large dogs with agile bodies and ferocious nature were patrolling the area. Like loyal guards, they were always on high alert, and any movement would not escape their sensitive perception. After completing all these tasks, Leon Hatman returned to the base to rest. Adian Moulet and Celeste Beaumont were also resting, while Damien Kelly and Claw Weiss were on guard duty, making sure the base was safe. And with the current state of the base, Leon Hatman felt a sense of security and stability, knowing that their hard work had paid off, and the base was well protected. With a strong team and loyal guards, they were ready for any challenges that might come their way. Leon Hatman had been feeling quite unwell for the past few days. Despite having developed his sixth sense, his body was still struggling to cope, and as the morning of the day before the apocalypse arrived, he woke up alongside Ela Voss, had breakfast, and then spent some time playing with their dogs. During which time, Leon Hatman had given Ela Voss the sixth sense capsule he had obtained from the previous lucky draw, instructing her to consume it and quickly develop her sixth sense. This ability was supposed to greatly increase speed and strength, but Ela Voss was skeptical, holding the capsule in her hand, questioning its effectiveness. Leon Hatman reassured her, confident that the system's products were of high quality. Just then, the system's mission was updated, and the new mission was like a heavy hammer blow to Leon Hatman, causing his face to turn pale. The mission was to eliminate 30 zombies within 30 minutes of the zombie outbreak. In exchange for points, Leon Hatman was horrified, his voice filled with incredulity and shock. He and Ela Voss had previously discussed the possible disasters that could occur, including severe floods, blizzards, or droughts, but they had never expected the catastrophe to take the form of a zombie virus. After Leon Hatman shared the system's mission with Ela Voss, her expression also turned serious. Although she had suspected that the disaster might be a zombie virus, she had not expected it to be real. Adian Mule, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falkny, Damien Kelly, Claw Weiss, and Victor Hale were all unaware of the impending doom. As Leon Hatman and Ela Voss tried to prepare themselves for the upcoming battle, they knew that their chances of survival depended on their ability to work together and utilize their unique skills. With the clock ticking down, they steeled themselves for the fight of their lives against the zombies that would soon be upon them and the unknown dangers that lay ahead. If that's the case, then they probably need to prepare more weapons, Leon Hatman said seriously, his tone filled with a sense of despair. But Adian Mula calmly replied, "It's okay. There's also good news, because the weapon store in the system has finally been opened, and upon browsing through it, Adian Mula found that it had all sorts of things, including handguns, submachine guns, assault rifles, and sniper rifles, as well as grenades, smoke bombs, and stun grenades. But one thing was certain: the points required were extremely high, with the cheapest handgun, the Eagle, costing 2,000 points, and the more expensive ones, like the assault rifle, costing 20,000 points per piece. While the sniper rifle costs 50,000 points per piece, the only redeeming thing was that all the ammunition for the guns only cost 10 points per bullet. Adian Mule's side, he only had 300 points left, and it was impossible to buy a gun in a short amount of time. But for future safety, he couldn't not go. Elias Koenig, listen to my advice. Don't go. We can just stay in the base. The supplies we have now are enough for us to live comfortably for 20 or 30 years. We really don't need to get involved in this, Celeste Beaumont said with a sincere tone, her eyes full of worry and concern. Deep down, she knew that if they wanted to succeed in killing the zombies within 30 minutes, they had to go to populated areas to find opportunities. However, those places were definitely the most dangerous, and one misstep could lead to a terrible consequence. Gabriel Weiss and Sebastian Falkny were also aware of the risks, but they knew that they had to take them. Damien Kella and Claw Weiss also shared the same concerns, but Victor Hale remained silent, lost in thought, as Allah Voss tried to reassure them that they would be okay. But the uncertainty of their situation lingered, and the weight of their decision hung in the air. Leon Hatman really couldn't bear to see his sister Elah Voss facing such great danger. He wanted to let Elah Voss give up on this mission and absolutely didn't want to see her make any mistakes. After all, life was the most precious treasure. Once lost, it couldn't be saved. Adian Mule gently shook his head, his eyes revealing determination and decisiveness. No matter where they were in this desperate world, there was no absolutely safe place. Only by continuously adapting and fighting could they gain a glimmer of hope for survival. This mission he had to go on. Elias Koenig and Gabriel Weiss were both worried, but Leon Hatman reassured them, "Don't worry, I have Damien Kella's protection. If the situation isn't stable, I'll immediately retreat." His words carried an unshakable determination. He knew that in this world, on the verge of being overrun by zombies, this wasn't a long-term plan. He gently patted Celeste Beaumont's shoulder, trying to alleviate her worries. Moreover, completing this mission could bring them a lot of accumulated points. The supercomputer on the third floor of their base still hadn't been activated. They needed more resources, more accumulated points to gain a chance at survival. Celeste Beaumont looked at Leon Hatman's determined eyes. Despite feeling a million worries and concerns, she was also moved by his determination. She took a deep breath, trying to stabilize her emotions, and finally nodded. "All right, Leon, but you have to promise me. You must be careful and survive to come back." Leon Hatman gently smiled, hugged Celeste Beaumont tightly. It was warm. "Don't worry, I'll take good care of myself and complete the mission." Claw Weiss and Victor Hale were also worried, but they trusted Leon Hatman's ability. Sebastian Falkny was also confident in Leon Hatman's strength. He knew that with Damien Kell's help, they could overcome any obstacle. Leon Hatman's determination and bravery inspired the others. They all knew that they had to keep fighting to survive in this desperate world. And with Leon Hatman leading them, they felt a sense of hope and security. Elias Koenig and Gabriel Weiss exchanged a glance. They both knew that they had to support Leon Hatman and the others. They were all in this together, and only by working together could they survive. Adian Muya nodded in agreement. He knew that they had to be strong and united if they wanted to make it through this. And with Leon Hatman's leadership, he felt a sense of reassurance. They would face whatever challenges came their way, together and determined to survive. As Leon Hatman and his sister prepared to embark on their perilous journey, He reassured her that they would definitely be able to seize a place for themselves in this treacherous world, and with that, he turned to head towards the storage room to begin packing, taking everything out of his spatial ring and putting it into the storage, only taking a little food and water, as they didn't need too much for this trip, and if possible, they would try to bring back some more items. Before leaving, Leon Hatman turned back to look at his sister. Their eyes met in the air, conveying a sense of understanding and trust without needing to say a word. He then said to her, "Sister, let's go. Don't worry, we'll be fine." With that, he bravely and determinedly set off towards the city of Hot, with a heart full of unknown challenges and a desire to survive. As soon as he left the base, Leon Hatman took out a 3-wheeled vehicle from his spatial ring and began to drive down the mountain. The mountain road was bumpy, but Leon Hatman drove the 3-wheeler, relying on his driving skills and familiarity with the road, steadily moving forward. As he gradually approached the city of Hot, the city's outline began to appear, although the disaster had not yet arrived. But in the air, a sense of unease had already permeated. The streets were bustling with people. Each person was either in a hurry or strolling leisurely. Everyone was immersed in their own ordinary and mundane life, completely unaware of the impending disaster. Meanwhile, Adien Mule, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falconet, Damien Kell, Claude Weiss, and Victor Hale were all going about their daily lives, oblivious to the looming catastrophe, as Leon Hatman and his sister, Ella Voss, navigated through the city. They were surrounded by the hustle and bustle of the streets, with people from all walks of life, going about their daily business. Leon Hatman's determination to survive and thrive in this new world was unwavering, and with his sister by his side, he was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As Leon Hatman stepped into the city, he had already made up his mind, deciding to first find an ideal place to stay, somewhere near a large supermarket, so that after completing his mission, he could stop by the supermarket to stock up on supplies, and also had to be close to a major hospital. The reason for targeting the hospital being that it's usually one of the first places to detect signs of a virus outbreak, with a large number of patients and medical staff gathered, making it a complex and crowded place. And when the epidemic breaks out, it's likely to become a severe epidemic area, making it easy to take out zombies. But just then, a furious voice came from not far behind. "Tiet Hao Duong, you bastard! I've found you!" Leon Hatman stopped his old 3-wheeled vehicle, turned around, and couldn't help but let out a cold laugh. The person who spoke up was Adien Mule, who had a past grudge with him, and at this time, Adien Mule was accompanied by a group of blonde thugs who were aggressively walking towards Leon Hatman. "Oh, isn't this Adien Mule? Why aren't you busy showing off in your little circle today, but instead have the leisure to interfere with my business?" Leon Hatman's mouth curled up into a teasing smile, but his eyes flashed with vigilance. He knew that at this time of impending apocalypse, any conflict could lead to unpredictable consequences. Adien Mule's face was full of rage, as if seeing an arch-enemy, gritting his teeth. "You little punk! You've ruined my plans before, and even dared to lay hands on me. This time, I've finally caught up with you." Meanwhile, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falconet, and Damien Kelly were all watching from a distance, awaiting the outcome of the situation. As Claude Weiss and Victor Hale exchanged a glance, the atmosphere was tense, with Ella Voss standing silently, observing the scene unfold. Leon Hatman gestured for the thugs behind him to approach, clearly not intending to let up on Ella Voss. And in response to this sudden provocation, Elah Voss quickly assessed the situation, knowing that using force would not be the best approach, especially at this critical moment, as any unnecessary fight could deplete his strength and precious resources, so he slowly drew the long wind sword from his back. The sword shining, serving as both a warning to Leon Hatman and a defensive posture, saying, "Leon Hatman, I don't want to fight you, but if you keep pushing me, I absolutely won't hold back." His voice calm and determined, the long Wen sword in his hand gleaming with a cold light under the sun, causing the air around him to become slightly tense. And upon seeing Elah Voss draw his sword, Leon Hatman's expression immediately changed. He hadn't expected Elah Voss to be carrying a sword, but then he laughed coldly. "You think a rusted sword can intimidate us? I don't believe you dare to cut someone down in the middle of the street. Go ahead, knock him down for me. I'll give you 20,000 yuan. As soon as Leon Hatman finished speaking, the thugs immediately pounced towards Elah Voss like hungry wolves. Their atmosphere fierce, Elah Voss helplessly sighed, gripping the long Wen sword tightly, preparing to teach them a lesson. However, just as both sides were about to erupt, a voice suddenly intervened. "Stop. I've already called the police." The voice was laced with a mix of worry and urgency, and immediately everyone stopped, looking towards the source of the sound, to see a beautifully dressed schoolgirl, Claw Weiss, quickly running towards them, holding a phone with a flickering screen displaying an ongoing call. And upon hearing this, Leon Hatman and the others immediately halted, turning their heads to look at Claw Weiss, who was rushing towards them, prompting them to back down. Meanwhile, Adion Mule, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, Sebastian Falkny, and Damien Kelly were all watching from a distance. As the situation unfolded, Victo Hale also appeared, observing the scene with interest. As Claw Weiss appeared, her presence was like a refreshing stream, instantly easing the tension and violence in the air. But Sebastian Falkny's eyes widened in anger. His face twisted in a fierce scowl as he growled, "You dare to interfere in the affairs of our young master. Do you know who I am? I'll deal with you right now." The moment he saw Claw Weiss arrive, Sebastian Falkny's eyes burned with intensity, his face darkening as he snarled, for he knew that Claw Weiss was one of the foremost beautiful women in their group, renowned for her stunning beauty and purity. And from the very first glance, Sebastian Falkny had harbored feelings for her. But unfortunately, he had never had the chance to get close to her. And just when he had finally managed to catch her alone in a secluded corner, Damien Kelly appeared out of nowhere, not only ruining his plans, but also leaving him humiliated. And now Sebastian Falkny's heart was filled with resentment and anger, his old and new grievances surfacing at the same time, making him even more furious. But Claw Weiss remained calm and composed, her eyes firm and unyielding as she looked straight into Sebastian Falkny's threatening gaze, saying in a just and righteous tone, "Sebastian Falkny, don't forget, we live in a society that upholds the law. If you're so capable, then just stand still and wait for the police to arrive." At which point Sebastian Falkny's face turned pale, his eyes flashing with anger, while his minions, who had been proudly and fiercely standing by his side, now revealed frightened and anxious expressions, the atmosphere becoming extremely tense as both sides engaged in a standoff, neither daring to make a move. But then Victo Hale, who had been watching from the side, saw the situation easing slightly and quickly decided to put away the long Wendao he had been grasping for. With his keen intuition, he had sensed that Sebastian Falkny had already begun to feel a sense of fear, and indeed, as Victo Hale had predicted, Sebastian Falkny knew that he could no longer cause trouble for Victo Hale, so he snarled, "Fine, Victo Hale, consider yourself lucky this time. but if we meet again, you might not be so lucky. And with that, Sebastian Falkney, his face full of hatred, shot a fierce glance at the two of them before leading his minions in a swift retreat, disappearing from sight in an instant. As Adian Mule, Leon Hatman, Ayla Voss, Celeste Beaumont, Elias Koenig, Gabriel Weiss, and Damian Kelly all stood by, witnessing the scene unfold.